everyone, Karen Roby, Adrian Kingsley-Hughes here for ZDNet, talking about a wrap up here from today's big high-speed event. Adrian, right off the top, what were your thoughts here?
Well, it was an interesting event in that it was quite distilled. We just had the HomePod Mini and the iPhone. There was a lot of people expecting that there would be AirPods, there would be new Apple TVs, there would be these AirTag things. Now, it was a very concentrated event, so I sort of liked that. From a perspective of the HomePod Mini, it was a good stab at Amazon on Amazon Prime Day in many ways, because there was a lot of talk about privacy, a lot of talk about security, which are areas where Amazon and its Alexa stuff tends to kind of get poked at a lot. So that was definitely Apple going, this is us stepping into here with stuff that's privacy minded, security minded, whereas the competitors may not be so focused on that. I think the other thing that stood out was that this was a 5G event, and this was Apple coming along and validating 5G finally. The tagline 5G just got real was that made me laugh, because 5G's been real for a while. iPhone is definitely going to speed roll out of 5G, but I still wonder that whether in a year or so time, whether 5G will still not be relevant to an awful lot of people. Apple is also great at making up new things, new words, new phrases to put on things. Ceramic shield makes your phone 4 times more likely to survive a drop. I would like some numbers on that, to be honest, but this is Apple. Apple never kind of really gives us numbers, except how much lighter things are, how much thinner things are, and how much smaller they are. Those are things that Apple love to talk about. The A14 Bionic chip is fast. It's faster than everything out there. Its competitor was the previous chip in the previous iPhone. Nobody really came close to it. So Apple is miles ahead now. It's going to be using a lot of this power for things like machine learning, for computational photography. Yeah, the iPhone 12 definitely moves that along. And then there was MagSafe. Not the old MagSafe on the MacBooks, but the new MagSafe. Apple reusing terms. I think that was really interesting. It solves the problem of when you throw your phone on the magnetic charger and it doesn't, on the wireless charger, and it doesn't line up properly. So they've put magnets in there and it acts all really cool. But when I saw this, my immediate thought was Apple's going to use this to sell expensive, or maybe should I say overpriced accessories. And they're there. $49 for a silicone case, $59 for a little wallet that clips on the back, $30 for a wireless charging pad that you could buy for around $10 on Amazon. This is Apple pushing high-priced accessories again, and it's really interesting to watch them do it. Other than that, I think we pretty much knew everything that was going to happen with the iPhone. Pretty much everything about the HomePod Mini had leaked. Yeah, it's that time of year. We're done. We're over. We can move on.
Right. Well, what were your thoughts on the iPhone 12? I mean, what you expected to see there with the Pro and the Pro Max, the price point? Is that pretty much where you thought they'd be?
Yeah, I pretty much everything fell in where the rumors and the chatter was. I think the interesting thing with Apple here is that it's selling a phone not for people who have got the last phone, but for people who are upgrading from 2 or 3 years ago. If you have the iPhone 11, moving up to 12 isn't going to be that big a jump. Moving up from a few years ago, that's when you're really going to see the benefit of this. So Apple is very clear about where the price points are of these things and who their actual target audience is.
And Adrian, of course, in terms of the negative consumer sentiment around the world, that we've been hearing, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, and it's a difficult time. How do you think the timing of this and rolling these items out plays into that right now with where we are?
It's hard to tell. It seems to be in some ways the 5G might be a trigger point for a massive upgrade.
Mhm.
Other than that, I think there's just this idea that Apple needs to release new products every year, and it's basically that's what it's done. If you're on an Apple upgrade program, you're eligible for a new phone. If your cell phone provider makes you eligible for a new phone, you've got a new phone. I think Apple is targeting that area of, it knows that there's an upgrade cycle in place. It didn't push prices up. It didn't push prices down either, which I think is Apple. Apple is very conscious, I think, of that. And I think that's why it was a low-key event, much in the same way as Apple is always very conscious about the environmental issues and framing not including earpods and a charger as an environmental thing, which, yeah, fair enough, it is, but it's also too fewer things that Apple needs to include in a box, and it's stuff that costs them money, and they can make the box smaller. They don't have to make fewer things. They probably save a few bucks down the line. They didn't mention that, of course, but so they framed it in this, it's good for the planet. So Apple's very conscious of the economic climate at the moment and also the environmental climate, and is playing this game of where it can sell, a $650 phone, a $1,400 phone, and make it seem like it's doing people a favor.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you touched on earlier, Adrian. We'll wrap up to this, but you touched on the again, the with the earbuds, not hearing anything new there, and the tags. What do you expect from those items? The rumor mill is always circulating, and what we expect that they may come up with and what they actually unveil, sometimes two different things. So, what do you think of the timeline on those other things that we've been hearing about?
I think there's definitely new AirPods in the works. There's enough rumor in the rumor mill about that one. Same with these AirTag things. But I don't think that they needed to dilute an iPhone event. I think they could be just something that drops into the store, or Apple can make these little events. Now it's not bringing journalists from all around the world into one place to woo them and wow them with different products on stage. It's creating these very bespoke, very tight video productions. It can release products on a different scale. It's only a few weeks ago that we had another event where people were thinking, oh, well, this must be the iPhone event, because Apple doesn't do other events, and Apple tends to want to bundle a lot of stuff together. This is clearly a very different Apple that we're looking at now, where it's far more focused in this idea that it can make events in advance, it can really edit them, and it can put them out whenever it wants at a week's notice, and all the eyeballs of the world are on them. So I think we're looking at a very different Apple, and I think dropping some new products is no big deal for Apple. I think tags would be a small thing, much like we've seen the accessories today. I think if they were out for Christmas, New Year, it doesn't really matter. I think this is where Apple's focus is at the moment. iPhone.
Yep, indeed. All right. Always interesting, Adrian, to see on these days what actually is presented to us. And we have a lot of commentary, analysis, and picture galleries and all of that good stuff on ZDNet. And certainly we hope all of you all will check it out there. Adrian, thanks for being with us. And we appreciate you guys watching here today.